Hey guys, how's things? Hope you guys are all hanging in there. Good morning. Um, all right, so I finished up a whole bunch of journals. Actually, surprised myself, um, you know, what I was able to accomplish in a short week. But I did try to keep them pretty simple. I've had these math books. So long time ago, I guess long time ago is kind of relative, right? A couple years ago, I acquired a whole bunch of math books. Well, mostly math books. Um, I used to get books from a used bookstore that they would save books for me and I would buy them by the box and that kind of thing. Anyway, so I guess someone had passed away and their entire book collection um, somehow wound up in the hands of this used bookstore. And the person that passed away was some kind of math professor or something. And so was his partner. So needless to say, they had a gigantic collection of books and they were elderly. And so they'd been collecting books for a long time. Anyway, so a lot of them are just super, super obscure, and I just, I just think they're so cool. Like some of the titles are just, like what the heck? I'm sure Sammy would probably understand a lot of this stuff, but um, I just, well, statistics, pretty basic, but you know what I mean? Like just some of them like stochastic processes. Like, I don't know what that is, but anyway. And so anyway, all of the books were in super good shape and most of them were the same size. Some were a little thicker than others and those were made into obviously thicker journals because I didn't want to, rebuild spines and that kind of thing. Anyway, so I've just had this whole stack of books and I decided now is the time. And I also had just tons of um, old like calendars and book pages, mostly, like floral books, botanical books and some books about birds and a lot of botanical stuff. Anyway, and art books, like coffee table type books that I had started to take apart. Anyway, so I started out, I was just going to do 12. I was just going to do 12 books, so 12 journals. And so I picked out 12 that were about the same thickness, something like that. So this one's obviously a little thinner than this one, but I thought, okay, they could both have 5 signatures. And because I try to keep everything kind of streamlined when I'm making a series. So then I started pulling out all kinds of books and, the book pages and things like that I wanted to use. And I wound up with this gigantic stack of pages from all kinds of different books, as I just said. Anyway, so I thought, okay, these would be good to just use for like a glue book type of thing, without. So I guess basically what I'm trying to say is that I didn't add a lot of other like blank papers into it. Like I didn't use any, like lined paper or grid paper or anything like that. It's pretty much all book pages. These are the end papers from a lot of the books that I took apart. I did use a little bit of scrapbook paper just to kind of break up the book pages a little bit, and as a protection for each signature. So I just used like a solid color scrapbook paper, just like 8.5 by 11. Anyway, so this was a cover from a Ideals book. So these are, I would say, very much, in the junk journal style, glue book or whatever. But what kind of inspired me to do these was sometimes when I'm just feeling like, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to make. I don't know what to, what kind of journals I want to work on. Sometimes I go back and I look at some of my old videos, and I actually wound up watching one of My Life Myths. I was watching a flip through that she did of some journals that she bought from me. And I was just kind of inspired by those. And so, sometimes it's fun to just go back and, look at things you've already done, and that seemed to work, So I guess that's a little bit of, my 2 cents on looking for inspiration. Go back and look at stuff that you've already done, Anyway, so some of these books I picked up at a used bookstore that's just down the street from me. And that was kind of inspiring too. This is like a decorating with color and pattern. I think it was like one of those coffee table size books, like a big giant book, but all about interior design. And I just loved all the color in it. So anyway, so I picked that up. They have a whole room at this bookstore that's all the books are $1, so it's kind of fun. Anyway, just all kinds of different book pages. I'm not going to go into like detail about what books they are and that kind of thing, but kind of fun. And then I just went through some files on my computer and printed off some things that I thought were kind of neutral but sort of fun that you could use as journaling cards or whatever. And I just printed out a whole bunch of that kind of stuff for you to use in your journal. And I just clipped them into one of these pages with a little bulldog clip. Okay. So any of these pages that are folded like this, I thought you could either make this into a pocket if you wanted to, or you could, use an X-Acto or some kind of scissors or something and cut that, and then you could flip that part of the page down, add some photos, do some journaling, that kind of thing. Use, some washi tapes or whatever. And then I just folded some of the pages where they were a little bit too wide. I just folded them in random ways. I didn't want to fold everything perfect. So I have this book of iron-on transfers. So these are all backwards, but because they're iron-ons. But anyway, I took that book apart and used a bunch of those pages in these. So see what I mean? Lots of different like art books, lots of botanical stuff, some Japanese art books that I have. Some things that, and I went through a whole bunch of the stuff that I've printed over the last couple years that just never got used, and used a lot of that stuff up too. So a lot of these are things that I had printed, like this right here. This was from one of those Dover books that's like 7,000 motifs or something. And so I was using these when I used to make a lot of art tiles, and that's printed on vellum. So anyway, and then just added a couple pockets. Whoops, a little piece of tape. Just added some pockets in the back for storing your images or whatever. And then added a couple in the front here. I did add a pocket made out of ledger, and then a little library pocket up top here for like shorter stuff. And then these are just some more little note cards and things that I printed. Oh, and then I had like 12 packages of index cards, so I just rounded the corners on them. I think they look cool that way. Anyway, so just tuck those into the pocket here on the front. Anyway, so there's 12 of these. These are what I'm calling the glue book, junk journal, whatever. I don't really know how to describe it, but I did just like a strip of ticking cloth, and then, you know, kind of pulled the strings off of both sides so it kind of frays on both sides. And then I used one of those little, I don't know what you call it, but these little things with the ring. It's like a hitch post, but it's got a ring attached. Anyway, so you just kind of thread the ticking through there, and then just tie it. And you could obviously, you know, you could replace that with something else if you wanted to. You could use some kind of ribbon or whatever. But and then just added some book corners. And then obviously you see the very chunky charm on each one of them. So I just added one of those little tags. It's the these are watch repair tags. So I just added one of those for the number. I didn't do it on the front because I thought you might want to write something on there. And then, so I have had a couple people say that they would like me to do a video showing my process on making the like journal charms, the chunky charms. So I will do that. I just didn't do it while I was making these because I was just kind of on a roll, and you know, I just wanted to keep working. So anyway, there's all kinds of fun stuff on here. If you go back and watch, if you're interested in making like some kind of charm like this, go back and watch the video that I did a couple months ago, I think now, on using the Dremel. It's like Dremel 101 for making charms or something. Then that'll show you kind of how I go about using the Dremel to you know, actually make these into charms so that you could then attach them to something to attach to a book. So anyway, and they're all removable. They've all got some kind of a clasp, so you can take it off of this ring. That's kind of my signature thing. That's what I always do. So anyway, so this is number 5. This is a glue book, what I'm calling a glue book. That's number 5. And then I decided I wanted to use, so I got a couple boxes of onion skin paper, vintage onion skin paper, and I just really wanted to use some of it. And I thought it would be really nice to use some of these books and make them just into writing journals. So most of the paper that's in them is just more like plain blank paper, but really nice vintage papers, and more intended for writing, for journaling. Okay, so that's what these are. So I think I did 14 of those. There's 3 different sizes of those though. Like this one, there's 2 that only have 2 signatures, okay, because the spine was pretty skinny. So I just did 2 signatures in those. They all have the same pockets in the front cover and the back as the glue books, and then also the same journaling cards and things like that. And I just paper clipped them throughout the journal. Okay, so I'll flip through this one and show you what's in these. I guess I could have went through that one because they're all kind of have the same papers, but anyway, so I did use some Tim Holtz like scrapbook papers for the signature kind of like end cap, you know. This is some really cool grid paper that there's so many different cool grid papers that are used in, you know, scientific applications, or, you know, like for drafting and that kind of thing, or, you know, all kinds of charting and whatever. Anyway, so some of them I've actually scanned, and then I printed this on some onion skin paper. So there's another document printed on the back, but I just wanted to print things that were kind of light color so that it wouldn't interfere with your writing. Anyway, so this is some vintage paper. here, and then just, you know, new stock grid paper. This is actually tracing paper. It's I don't remember the brand, but it's nice and crinkly tracing paper. Some other grid paper. This is some onion skin paper, which is very similar to tracing paper, but not exactly the same. It's got some cotton in it, so that's one of the differences with onion skin paper. There's no onion skin in onion skin paper, but anyway, and that is vintage onion skin paper. There is a company that actually makes onion skin paper still. A lot of people think that it's no longer made, and I actually thought that for a while, but there is a company that makes it, and I was thinking about ordering some from them just to try it and see how I like it, but because it's cheaper than buying the old vintage boxes of onion skin, even though that old onion skin paper is really cool. It's you can, I have to compare. I'll buy some, and I'll let you guys know what I think. Anyway, so some of that really cool penmanship writing paper for, you know, school children. This was one of those big pages of accounting ledger. I think it was like 13 columns or something. Some straw paper. This is some very thin parchment paper, and then some beautiful French ledger pages. And this is another piece of onion skin paper. It's the same paper as what I printed this on. Okay, so it's the same paper. This is another grid paper. I don't know where it came from. This is like a half of a lettergram, so it comes with the two copies, so the white copy and then the yellow copy, and then you would put a piece of what you call it in between, you know, carbon paper. Anyway, so this is some of that writing paper. This was an old ledger book that I bought on eBay a long time ago. It was for like a farmhouse, like a farm ledger, not farmhouse, you know, geared towards somebody who runs a farm. That it was like a ledger book for that type of use. Anyway, so okay, see, this is one of the documents that it's actually a letter written to a bank here in Spokane, or no, not in Spokane, in Lind. Some of these letters are actually really interesting to read. A lot of people would write to that bank and ask for loans, or they would, and like they didn't have like an application that they filled out. They would just write in and say, you know, I have this for collateral, and I have this for, you know, assets and whatever, and my reputation is, you know, like, you know, I have a good reputation, and, you know, these are some references and that kind of thing. And they would ask for however much they were wanting to borrow at what interest rate. And I just thought it was really interesting that, you know, how that's kind of changed. Anyway, so there's another, this is a piece of cardstock. And then they're basically kind of similar. All the signatures are sort of the same. This paper, this blue paper, it's like a 15-inch long paper. It's used in some ways. One of my viewers told me what this was, and I can't remember what she said, but it was used in like legal documents. This blue paper, it's just got a really cool texture. It's almost like linen. So if you are the person that told me what that paper is, because I found a box of it at a thrift store, and I didn't know what it was, but if you know what that is, will you please leave it in the comments and tell me again what that was, what it's called, because I love it. It's really cool. And I think it only comes in blue for that purpose. So anyway, so this was from one of those big, like, cash books. They're, you know, like newer. This one was from 1999, I think. Still considered vintage. Anyway, so just lots of yummy papers, and you can see mostly just blank papers that, you know, you can journal on. But I mean, you could totally use this for a glue book or for, you know, scrapbooking or whatever. But I just thought it would be nice to make something that was geared just towards like journaling, you know. Anyway, lots of blank yummy stuff. So anyway, so it's kind of redundant to keep flipping through the signatures because they are pretty similar. There is actually two different types of straw paper in here. There's this one, you can see it's kind of more orangey, yellowy, like chartreuse. And then there's that other one that was back here. So you can see this one is more actually kind of straw colored, and see that one's more yellow. Anyway, and then the pockets in the back, of course, okay, with the little rounded corner index cards. I like writing on things that have rounded corners for some reason. Anyway, and then these are closed just with a hitch post. The 5 signature ones. So there's, I think, five signature writing journals, and those all have the large hitch post with elastic closure. And then I think there's 7 3 signature ones, and those all have hitch posts also, but they're a little bit smaller. They all have the same size charm. They all have the same number of printed card and that kind of thing. They just have fewer signatures. Okay. So this is one of the 3 signature ones, and they all have the book corners and just really nice. I don't know. I just love paper. I love like gathering paper and stacking it up and folding it and all that. It's just my favorite thing to do. Anyway, so this is another one of the 5 signature ones. Just, you know, very sophisticated, I would say. So this is number 15. This one is number 20. This is number 14. This one's number 14. This is number 25. I'm not going to show you all of them because there's 26 altogether. But I did want to show you like an example of each size and style. Okay. So this one I thought was a really cool cover for a journal. I like that the word reliability is like in bold there. So anyway, so you can see I did the stitching on the outside of the cover. Just fun. There's only one journal that I actually stitched on the cover, and I just decided again, like the last series that I did, I just didn't feel like fighting with the sewing machine because these covers are quite thick, and I'm having an issue with one of my old vintage machines needs a new belt, and I don't have the belt, so, and the other one has another issue, so I couldn't use one of the old heavy-duty workhorse machines, and I really don't want to ruin my new machines by making them work that hard to stitch 26 covers. So that's why I only did one. But anyway, so there's this one, just bright, and plus I love the graphics on these covers. All of the like glue book style ones, they all have like the cool graphics on the covers, you know, or like this is an older one. This is more of a vintage book. So that was why I used that one as a glue book. Let's see, like this one. I just think it's so fun. and super junky, you know, just like look at this one. Isn't that cool? So cool. It's so fun. This one is kind of neat too. Anyway, so that is, those are my hardcover journals for January, probably also February. And then I'm going to maybe start working on doing some more, like some mini journals or something like that. Or I might just take a break and do some collaging and make some more charms and things like that. But I will do a video about the charms and how I, you know, put these together, because I do have a process that, you know, is kind of helpful for making these, especially since I was making 26 of them. So that kind of, that's kind of helpful if you're trying to, you know, make multiples. Anyway, so these are all listed. Pricing does include shipping. None of these journals weigh more than 2 pounds. So the most you would pay outside the US for shipping, I think, would be about $21 US. Might be a little bit more to Australia. I checked Canada, which is usually the most expensive, which is weird. And it was $21 to Canada from Spokane. So to like the UK or to Australia, it might be as much as 24 US. I don't know. But anyway, so but in the US, shipping is included in the pricing. So I don't like to say free shipping, because really what I do is I price out all my journals and then I add 8% to everything across the board, all of them. I just add 8%, and that covers the cost of my fees, and I figure that includes, you know, that makes up for what I wind up paying for shipping too. So anyway, okay, I guess that's it. Lots and lots of journals. I can't stack them all up here, or they'd be all the way up to the camera. But thanks so much for watching, you guys. And yeah, I hope you are able to grab the one you want. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning here, so I'm going to publish this video. So it'll probably be early morning for you if you watch YouTube in the morning, and I hope if you're wanting one that you're able to grab one. Okay, I'll put a link in the description to my Etsy shop. And yeah, I love you guys. Okay, bye for now.